This is your conference championship wrap-up with Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.
What? Are you doing season 2 of that stupid show?
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. What's up, y'all? This is your boy Hanger from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, talking to you guys today about the conference championship weekend going on. You had some phenomenal football going on this weekend. I hope you caught most of those games, but if not, you know what? You got me right here to go ahead and go over those with you really quick. So let's go ahead and jump right on in, shall we? Oregon faced Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. Oregon lost to Utah in regular season play in mid-November, losing 38-7. So you'd think the coaching staff would have really taken a look at how to disrupt the Utes defense. Unfortunately, that must not have happened because Oregon did not score at all in the first half, giving up 23 points to the Utes. They got a little traction in the second half, but only scored 10 points. So all that work in the last few weeks helped them put up an extra 3 points on Utah. Utah, on the other hand, scored 38 points, so they win 38-10. Utah gets their place in the Rose Bowl and will play Ohio State, I believe. To me, there's nothing better than a game that comes right down to the last 20 seconds, and that's what I live for in college football when I'm watching it. Unless, of course, it's the Florida Gators, then I want them to have a comfortable lead. Big 12 championship was exactly that, though. It's exactly what I'm looking for in college football. Oklahoma State comes in as a clear favorite against Baylor, although Baylor has played some great football and showed it during that first half. Baylor scores 21 points during the first half, while Oklahoma was only able to put up 6. From there, it was all defense for Oklahoma State, who was able to shut out Baylor in the second half. They slowly began to creep towards Baylor, putting up another 10 points. With about 3 minutes left in the game, Oklahoma State goes on a drive, getting down to the 2-yard line. It was first and goal for 4 total tries, and on the last try, Oklahoma State does a running play, running to the corner of the end zone. Running back dives toward the pylon and misses. Absolute pandemonium breaks out, and Baylor wins that game. Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns played Appalachian State in the Sun Belt Conference Championship game. Louisiana was ranked number 20 with an 11-1 record, while App State was 10-2 coming into the game. From a total offense perspective, this game was all Ragin' Cajuns, who won 24-16. Number 15 Pittsburgh in the ACC Championship game defeats number 16 Wake Forest 45-21. Sam Hartman from Wake Forest threw 4 interceptions. That is not the way to win that game. Pittsburgh just had a dominant effort against Wake Forest. Both teams typically score over 40 points per game. Pittsburgh's defense is able to hold Wake Forest to 21 points. Absolutely amazing showing for these two teams. Pitt definitely was not the expected team to be in the ACC championship, being in the same division as Clemson. Clemson had a fall-apart season in the beginning of the season, finishing off strong, but Pitt has that record of 10-2 going into the week, and they ended up in the ACC championship game and just dominated. Excellent work. Kenny Pickett, career-long 58-yard touchdown, gave Pitt an early lead, and Kenny Pickett was just on fire the rest of the game as well and led them to victory. Excellent ACC championship game as well. For the Alabama versus Georgia game, one of the teams, Alabama, was fighting to stay in the top 4 and live another day to see the national championship potential for that team. The other team, Georgia, was undefeated and a shoo-in for a playoff, pretty much no matter what the outcome of the game. Did that play into the performance of the Georgia team? I'm not sure. It's doubtful, actually, but Alabama has to fight for their life, and they did. Alabama was led by Bryce Young, was 26 for 44 and threw for 421 yards. Actually, the most yards thrown in an SEC championship game, by the way. And he threw 3 touchdowns. Early in the game, Georgia looked solid, getting stops against Alabama's offense and scoring 10 points early. Alabama then put up 24 points in the second quarter, going into the halftime, leading 24-17, a very manageable game for Georgia. Both Alabama and Georgia played their hearts out, but Alabama just dominated the second half and did what no one else can do all season. They wore down the Bulldogs' defense and scored some points. As a matter of fact, Georgia's first 7 opponents this season did not score as many points combined as Alabama did. Final score is 41-24. The biggest question now is who will be, or where will Alabama and where will Georgia be in the playoff committee's rankings on Wednesday or on Tuesday night. And another question that is being asked is, will the national championship game be a rematch between these two powerhouse programs? Looking at it, you have Cincinnati and you have Michigan. Michigan's played some strong ball. Cincinnati is a wild card. They might come out and play well and be able to score. Who knows? So we'll see what happens with that. But it is possible that there's going to be a rematch between Alabama and Georgia in that national championship game. I wonder if the playoff committee would actually put Georgia and Alabama together against each other, somehow ranking Alabama first and Georgia fourth or something. Who knows? Okay, moving on. Cincinnati Bearcats were even with Houston in the AAC Championships games for the first quarter and most of the first half, but the Bearcats' offense was just spectacular, putting up 21 points in the third quarter, helping the Bearcats to their win and likely the first appearance by a Group of 6 team in the college football playoff. Final score, Cincinnati wins 35-20. And Michigan is on a mission this season. I said it at the beginning of the season, and it was definitely a lucky call, but I've been proven to be right. Michigan football is back. Playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, Michigan dominated the Hawkeyes, 4 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Michigan did not stop. Iowa, on the other hand, had no traction at all. Their offense was crap all season. They've been having some stumbling blocks put in their way, and they definitely were. There was definitely no different in this game here. Iowa only puts up 3 points, while Michigan scored 42. A near blowout game. A commanding victory that may propel them to that number 1 spot later this week. And the final score on that game was 42-3. And like I said earlier, it is really interesting to see who is going to be ranked number 1. It's hard to tell now. Georgia was a clear number 1 pretty much all season. But now you're looking at Alabama, who beat Georgia. So it might be an interesting place to put Georgia, number 2 or number 3. But honestly, Georgia's worst loss or the only loss they had was to Alabama. Alabama lost to Texas A&M. So to put Georgia below Alabama is unlikely, in my opinion. But then you also have Michigan, who lost to Michigan State, and that is a worse loss than what Georgia had to Alabama. So maybe Georgia stays in that number 1 spot. Who knows? That's my commentary on that. It's really hard to tell. A lot of times the committee does go by current performance as well, not just past performance, but Georgia's had pretty good current performance, recently, except for against Alabama. So you wonder what's going to happen. Or maybe the Bearcats will be number 1. They are undefeated, but that strength of schedule will play into will definitely play into their decision making as well on Cincinnati. I still think it's going to be Cincinnati will be number 4. Then you'll most likely have Georgia number 3, Michigan number 2, Alabama number 1. But then again, I was thinking about it as well. Michigan is going to be ranked high because they just blew out Iowa. I mean, 42-3 is just insane to happen in a championship game. So maybe they throw Michigan at number 1, Cincinnati at number 2, Alabama at number 2, Cincinnati number 3, Georgia number 4. But you know what? Only time will tell. But thank you for joining me every single week for the college football highlights and the wrap up for the games. This will most likely be the last one until we have the bowl games going on, so I'll be taking next week off most likely because you guys will know how the Army-Navy game plays out, which we will be talking about on our Thursday show this week. And we have the reintroduction of the dude coming, original founder of Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, so tune in for that. And he is a West Point grad, so that'll be awesome to see him back, especially since we have the Army-Navy game coming up next week. And keep on coming back every week, though, for more Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. It's your boy, Hanger, looking for a beer. Actually, we're all looking for a beer, so if you want to buy the guys a beer, at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports on Venmo. That's it. Easy as drinking a beer. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, man, how can I help these guys out? Well, first thing you can do, subscribe to the show. By subscribing to the show, you'll be able to hear it every single week on your favorite podcatcher. Second thing you do, if your podcatcher lets you do it, give it a review and 5 stars. I know Apple Podcasts will allow you to do that. So give it 5 stars and a review. And then the third thing you do is hop on Facebook, type in Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. You'll see our group there. Join it. You'll love it. Best sports group on Facebook, guaranteed. Lots of good stuff going on in there, so check it out. And then come back next week for Guys at the Bar Talking Sports.